One thing that many people probably don't know about St. Petersburg is just how many really long blocks there are all across the city. I've spent the past couple of weeks trying to hunt down some of the very longest. In fairness, these long blocks, they're not just in St. Petersburg, they can be found all over the ex-Soviet Union. But there does seem to be more of them here than elsewhere, and I think there's a reason for that. Because this is Russia's most beautiful city, I don't think they wanted to spoil the beauty of the city by having too many really high-rise blocks, so they went for long ones instead. Now this building here is certainly not short, is it? I like the cool television type things going across it, and also it's got a twin this side as well. This is quite an interesting case I've just come across there. I mean, that's pretty long, that residential block, but not content with one, it faces off against another one. Different style, but equally as long. Architecture is pretty interesting. Kind of interesting location as well. On a bit of a slope there. This angle is quite interesting because you can clearly see that it's not a long straight block like many of them. It's curved, and that's quite an arch there actually. The little tower things are kind of interesting as well, that one there and this one here, because normally the towers are at the end of the building, but here they're not quite. Continues a bit further. This home behind me is called the Sausage Home, and I'm not talking about a fat juicy sausage, I'm talking about one of those really long German Bockwurst types that comes out of the bread both sides. Getting this in full length is not easy because I can't get that far back because there's buildings in the way, but you kind of get the idea, I think. This is the building from the other side. You see, it's pretty much straight all the way, but then it curves at the end. That's why I can't quite get it all in, and that's why it's called a sausage. Oh, I spy with my little eye something beginning with L and B. Long building. That didn't really work, did it? Look, there's one on the other side of the bridge as well, but that one doesn't look as long, does it? I'm sure you noticed that this long block can go towards the other side of the river, so I'm having to cross the river. And I tell you what, St. Petersburg is a really spread out city, so if you're going to come here, then make sure you've got some comfortable walking shoes. Maybe I was mistaken, maybe it is as long, but it's not necessarily symmetrical. It doesn't have to be. I know they often are. Having consulted my map, it does seem that my initial feeling that the one on the left is a bit longer than the one on the right does seem to be true. So we'll focus on that one, the one on the left. It seems that this tall boy on the end is actually part of it. Right, there's no doubt that from this angle it looks like different buildings. This lower section you see just here, this does kind of seem to connect up the building, so if you count that as part of the building, well then it's obviously going to be a very long building. Right, that's a slight nuisance. I was planning on going up these steps here to try to prove that it's all one building, but it seems it's locked off. I don't know if this area had any purpose when the building was being constructed, but it certainly doesn't these days. So you can see it again here quite clearly. If you count that bottom connecting section, then it's all still one building. So really this building's a bit like Maradona, isn't it? I mean, it might cheat a little bit, but because it's so good that, you know, you might be prepared to turn a blind eye. And that's the long facade, and so it can appear that it finishes there, but you see it's still connected up. Again, you can say, yeah, a little bit cheating perhaps, but whatever. And it carries on here. Okay, this here I think could be conclusive proof that the building's cheating. You can see there not quite one long building. Of course, losing those last 2 blocks significantly reduces the building's length, but I don't know, I'm still going to probably keep it in because it's still kind of interesting, right? It'd be a shame to not show you guys it. This little round circular thing's kind of interesting as well. I think there's even 3 of them in total. Yeah, so there is. This one's the coolest of them all though. The tree going up through it. Some silly Billy once said that cheats never prosper, but that's not true, because Maradona went on to win the World Cup, and this building, despite its outrageous cheating, is going to make the final cut. Quite a long one here, but basically it's just long, it's not in any way interesting, and to make the final cut you've got to be a bit more interesting than that. The same applies to those ones over there. Although having said that, I guess technically speaking they have made the final cut, but I won't dwell on them. And in case you haven't worked it out already, I'm only focusing on the long straight buildings, not the ones that might be really long if you add up all the ends of the square ones, the rectangular ones, not the snaky ones, the ones that go around, just the ones that just have one long straight or straightish facade.
This is an old postcard of the Moscow Hotel. It's since been renovated and now looks hideous, but it's kept its considerable length. Check out how long this hallway is. I'm walking as quickly as I can because I realise it might not be the most entertaining video ever. Slight curve in the building. It's not a round building, it's straight, but it's got a little curve. Oh no, let's check out my room while we're here. Check out my room. Here we are. Hey Kate. So yeah, quite a good view of the river there. And the traffic. I didn't know St. Petersburg traffic was quite that bad. Not even rush hour yet. Okay, so let's carry on, shall we? And is this the end or do we continue? Oh, no, we continue. Oh, and that's the end.
Now, this bad boy behind me has got 1,000 homes in it. What I like about this one is that it's managed to retain its Soviet feel. So lots of people criticise the Soviet architecture for being a bit dull and monotonous. Yeah, sure, I get that. But I mean, really, is the modern architecture any more aesthetically pleasing? So I'm just walking alongside the wings now. For this, we're only counting the long facades, but I mean, crikey, just the wings, which are comparatively very short compared to the facade. I mean, in most cities, I imagine they'd be considered a long building. So this is the inner courtyard. Got its own little nursery there, kids' nursery by the looks of it. It seems you can walk along the whole length of the building undercover, which is kind of useful with St. Petersburg's rather unpredictable climate. So along the bottom there's loads of services and shops. It's kind of like a little world in itself, this block. Got its own little bar as well, but if you want to drink you have to wait till 4 o'clock. If we say there's an average of 2.5 people in each flat, well, I mean, do the maths. That's 2,500 people in this block. No wonder it's like its own little world. I like the little balconies as well, they're kind of cool, aren't they? Wow, these blocks just seem to keep getting longer and longer. Thanks to the block opposite, I managed to get a bit of a high vantage point here, so that we can see this offering. It starts just over there, as you can see, and basically comes along here, a bit of an interesting middle section there, well, middle-ish, and then carries on all the way down to there. If you look carefully, the bricks or the tiles of the taller tower in the middle are different from the ones either side, so I don't know if that was added afterwards, either sort of straight afterwards or some time afterwards, or whether it was there from the beginning. Actually, I can answer my own question because I've just come through to the inner courtyard bit, and as you can see on the inside it's all the same material. I just came across this little bonus. I know it's not a long building at all, but wow, what a cool example of Soviet modernism. Wow, we've got two really long buildings here, right opposite each other. Now they might look quite long already, but actually that's only about 2/3 of them. They slightly arch at the end. Quite an interesting situation with the balconies. Look there, all balconies, packed with balconies. And there, all of a sudden, they disappear on the first sort of 8 levels. As with the 1000 home, it's got the legs, which is kind of handy on a rainy day to walk under the whole length of the building and stay dry. My goodness, if the 1000 home had 1000 homes in it, hence the name, I mean, this one's even longer. I mean, how many homes have these ones got in between the two of them? Probably about 3000. More in the middle now, so you can really see how long these buildings are. So you've got the legs in the whole middle section there so that people and vehicles can access the building without having to walk all the way around it. And then on the two ends you've got the commercial sections on the lower level. We didn't see it earlier, but on that funny TV building it had exactly the same thing as this on the end. So I mean, if you count that, that's a good extra 50 metres, isn't it? As usual, not stunningly beautiful or anything, but I mean very practical. They housed a lot of people, and you know, you just came out your home and then you've got the trams running up and down your street, jump on the tram, go to work in the factory or wherever you worked, and then come home again. This is the longest building in the city, 745 metres. I'm just showing a photo of it I took last time I was here, as I've run well over time. So a big well done and thank you to those of you who have seen it out until the bitter end. See you next time.